Anatomy of a Royal Heist, the Three Musketeers analysis. Hello and welcome back to the Emotive archive. For the past several weeks, we have journeyed through the swashbuckling adventures and political intrigues of 17th century France. We have deconstructed this classic tale as a spy thriller, analyzed its characters as intelligence operatives, and marveled at its intricate plot. But for this, our final two-part analysis, we will attempt something far more ambitious. We will argue that Alexandre Dumas, perhaps unconsciously, crafted more than just a great story. He created a profound philosophical allegory about two fundamental opposing forces that govern the human condition. On one side, we have the relentless, forward-moving, and undefined energy of what philosophers called becoming. It is the force of the future, of potential, of a life yet to be written. On the other side, we have the heavy, cyclical, and tragically defined weight of being. It is the force of the past, of identity forged by inescapable events, of a life already written and forever reread. This is not just a story of four friends. It is the story of a collision between these two cosmic forces. A collision embodied in the relationship between the novel's two most important characters, D'Artagnan, the arrow, and Athos, the fallen star. Let us begin with the force of becoming, the pure, unadulterated energy that is D'Artagnan. He arrives in our story as a near blank slate. He is 18 years old, from the remote province of Gascony. What is his defining characteristic? It is not a complex psychology or a tragic past. It is pure forward momentum. He is an arrow loosed from his father's bow, aimed at a single, distant target, Paris and the glory of becoming a musketeer. He has no significant past to speak of. His entire identity is oriented towards the future. His father's gifts are not heirlooms that tie him to what was, but tools to help him achieve what will be. A horse for the journey forward, money for the expenses ahead, and a letter to open a future door. D'Artagnan's famous hot-headedness, his Gascon pride, should not be seen as a simple character flaw. It is a manifestation of his raw, untamed energy of becoming. He is a force of nature that cannot and will not be stopped or slighted. When the Comte de Rochefort insults his horse, D'Artagnan's reaction is not just about a horse. It is an instinctual, violent rejection of any force that attempts to impede his forward momentum. He is so focused on his destination that any obstacle, no matter how small, is met with the full force of his ambition. His three duels are a continuation of this. He literally crashes into the established world of Paris, embodied by the three most famous musketeers. He bumps into Athos, gets tangled with Porthos, and confronts Aramis. He does not navigate this world with caution, he collides with it. And in each collision, he does not retreat. He doubles down, scheduling 3 duels in a single hour. This is not the action of a rational man. It is the action of a pure force, an energy that only knows how to move forward, even if that path leads to certain death. His immediate and total devotion to Constance Bonifacio and the Queen's cause is another perfect example of this relentless forward drive. He does not pause to analyze the political complexities. He does not weigh the immense risks to his own life. He sees a noble cause, a beautiful woman, and a clear objective, and he dedicates himself to it completely. He is a creature of pure action. The mission to England is the ultimate test of this relentless drive. He is the arrow, and the Queen's letter is the message he carries. As his companions, his allies, his only connections to the present, are stripped away from him one by one, his resolve does not waver. The loss of Porthos, Aramis, and Athos does not cause him to turn back. On the contrary, it only sharpens his focus. He sheds these connections, these elements that could hold him back, to achieve his future objective. He is utterly alone, a single point of energy moving at incredible speed towards his target. His success is a triumph of this pure, unburdened, forward-moving will. He succeeds because he has no past to weigh him down, no complex regrets to paralyze him. He is the embodiment of becoming, a character defined entirely by his potential, by the man he is not yet, but is desperately striving to be. He is the life force of the novel, the engine of its plot, the arrow that pierces through every obstacle. Now, let us turn to the opposite pole of this philosophical magnet, Athos, the very embodiment of being. If D'Artagnan is an arrow, Athos is a fallen star, a once brilliant celestial body that has crashed to earth, its fire extinguished, leaving only the immense, heavy, and beautiful remnant of what it once was. He is a man defined entirely and tragically by his past. We are introduced to him as a man of mystery, a musketeer of unparalleled nobility and skill, but also of profound, unshakable melancholy. His defining characteristics are all artifacts of a former life, a life of immense privilege and status that has been lost. His aristocratic bearing, his flawless manners, his deep knowledge of heraldry and courtly life. These are not things he is acquiring. They are the ghosts of his former self.
Unlike D'Artagnan, Athos has no ambition, no desire to become anything new. His life is a closed loop, a cyclical performance of a role he no longer officially holds. His days are spent in a state of quiet, dignified despair, his only solace found in the oblivion of wine. His drinking is not a simple habit, it is a philosophical act. It is his attempt to silence the memories, to numb the pain of a past so terrible it has rendered his future meaningless. His apartment is a museum to his former self, containing a few precious relics, the ancestral sword, the portrait, that are testament to a world he has been exiled from. Even his servant, Grimaud, who communicates in silence, is a reflection of Athos's own internal state, a man who has no more stories to tell, for whom words have become inadequate to express the depth of his tragedy. He is the gravitational center of the group. Porthos and Aramis orbit him, drawn to his natural authority and wisdom. But it is a dark, heavy gravity, the gravity of a collapsed star. He provides stability and strategic counsel, but he also infuses the group with a profound sadness. He is not moving forward, he is simply being. He is the Comte de la Fère, trapped in the costume of the musketeer Athos. His existence is a constant, quiet performance of a tragedy that has already reached its conclusion. His famous stoicism, his poise under pressure, is not just discipline. It is the emotional exhaustion of a man who has already experienced the worst the world has to offer. Nothing in the present can truly touch him, because he is perpetually living in the past. The relationship between Athos and D'Artagnan, therefore, becomes the central philosophical conflict of the novel. It is the clash between the unstoppable force of becoming and the immovable object of being. When Athos looks at D'Artagnan, he sees more than just a brave young man. He sees a ghost. He sees the ghost of his own lost youth, the reflection of the noble, ambitious man he once was before his past caught up with him and destroyed him. His immediate affection for D'Artagnan is not just friendship. It is a complex mixture of paternal protection and vicarious hope. He protects D'Artagnan with a fierce, quiet intensity because he is, in a way, trying to protect his own past self from making the same mistakes. He is trying to ensure that this new, pure energy of becoming does not suffer the same tragic fate as his own. This dynamic is never more clear than in their quiet moments together. Athos is the mentor, the one who provides the wisdom and strategy born from painful experience. D'Artagnan is the protégé, the one who provides the energy and the hope that Athos himself has lost. It is a symbiotic relationship. D'Artagnan's relentless optimism and forward drive provides a brief glimmer of light in Athos's dark, static world. And Athos's tragic wisdom provides a necessary anchor for D'Artagnan's reckless ambition. Their bond is the heart of the novel, a deep and complex exploration of whether the raw energy of the future can ever truly redeem the deep wounds of the past. The central unspoken question of their relationship is this: can D'Artagnan's journey forward somehow pull Athos out of his tragic, cyclical prison of memory? Or will the immense gravity of his past ultimately be too strong, a black hole that threatens to consume even the brightest of new stars? The answer to that question, as we will see, is directly tied to the novel's true antagonist, the living embodiment of Athos's tragic past, Milady de Winter. Now that we have anatized the events within these chapters, the cardinal's suggestion, the king's command, the queen's terror, and the invasive search of her chambers, let us elevate our analysis. We will now move from the what to the why, and in doing so, propose a more radical and perhaps more chilling interpretation of the events. A traditional reading sees this as a straightforward plot by the cardinal to disgrace the queen. But what if that was only the surface game? What if the hunt for the diamonds was not the true objective, but merely a pretext for a much deeper, more complex intelligence operation? Today, we will argue that Cardinal Richelieu was not just playing chess. He was playing a three-dimensional game of psychological warfare, and the queen was not his only target. Let us first deconstruct the cardinal's primary tool, his absolute mastery of psychological manipulation, particularly over King Louis XIII. The scene in which he suggests the ball is a master class in this art. He approaches the king not with a demand, but with an idea that appeals directly to the monarch's known weaknesses, his vanity and his desire for spectacle. He frames the ball not as a political tool, but as an opportunity for the king to display his magnificence and outshine his rivals. This is a classic manipulation technique, making the target believe that your idea is in fact their own brilliant suggestion. But the true genius lies in the second move, the suggestion that the queen wear the diamond studs. He phrases this as a loving husband's desire to see his wife beautifully adorned, a romantic gesture. But beneath this sentimental veneer lies a dagger aimed at the heart of the king's deepest insecurity, his suspicion of the queen's fidelity and her connection to the Duke of Buckingham. Richelieu is not just planting an idea, he is planting a seed of poison. He knows the king is weak, and the best way to control a weak man is to inflame his paranoia.
But here we must ask our first great what if, our first surprising secret. What if the cardinal, with his vast network of spies, already knew for a fact that the diamonds were in England? The traditional view assumes the cardinal's goal was to catch the queen empty-handed. But what if his goal was far more sophisticated? What if he was not trying to win this battle, but to gather intelligence for the war to come? Hypothesis: the entire affair was not a trap to disgrace the queen, but a high-level intelligence probe designed to test the strength, speed, and methods of the queen's secret communication network with her English allies. Think of it from a spy master's perspective. Richelieu needs to know how quickly can the queen get a message to Buckingham? Who are her couriers? What routes do they use? By forcing her hand, by creating this impossible deadline, he is forcing her to activate her entire network, allowing him to observe it in action. He is, in essence, poking the hornet's nest not to get stung, but to map out the location of the nest and the flight paths of the hornets. D'Artagnan's desperate journey, in this reading, is not just a heroic ride. It is a trail of breadcrumbs that the cardinal's agents can follow, providing them with invaluable intelligence on the queen's operational capabilities. The public disgrace of the queen would have been a bonus, but the true prize was the intelligence gathered. This transforms the cardinal from a simple villain into a chillingly modern and pragmatic spy master. Now let us turn to the scene in the queen's chamber. The invasion of her private space is a powerful symbol of the state's reach.
Her bedchamber, a symbol of her personal sovereignty and intimacy, is violated by the men of the robe, the agents of the cardinal's bureaucratic power. The search for letters is the official pretext, but the true target is the jewel casket. This brings us to our second surprising question. Was the queen protecting an empty box, or was she using one secret to hide another? We are led to believe that her terror stems from the fact that the diamonds are missing. But she is a queen, trained in the art of courtly deception. What if her dramatic, emotional defense of the casket was a piece of brilliant misdirection? What if the real, treasonous correspondence, the letters that Séguier was actually looking for, were hidden elsewhere in the room, perhaps in a place so obvious that no one would think to look? By creating a dramatic standoff over the jewel box, she focuses all of the searchers on a single object, a red herring, while the truly incriminating evidence remains untouched. In this reading, the queen is not a panicked victim, but a skilled counterintelligence agent, using the cardinal's own assumptions against him. She allows him to discover the secret he thinks he's looking for, while protecting the one that could truly destroy her. This elevates her from a simple romantic heroine to a formidable player in the great game. Finally, we must ask a doubtful question about our hero himself. We see D'Artagnan as the central actor, the brave champion who will save the day. But from the cold, high-altitude perspective of a spy master like Richelieu, what is he really? Is he a threat, or is he just another predictable piece on the board? The cardinal's network is vast. They have agents everywhere. They successfully ambush and neutralize 3 of the finest swordsmen in France. How is it that a single, inexperienced boy from Gascony is able to slip through this supposedly airtight net? Is it possible that D'Artagnan was, in some ways, allowed to succeed? This is a controversial thought, but consider the potential motives. Perhaps the cardinal, having already confirmed the existence and efficiency of the queen's network, saw more value in letting the mission succeed. A publicly disgraced queen could lead to civil unrest and instability, a headache for a man trying to consolidate a nation. A queen who is now secretly indebted to him, a queen whose deepest secret he now fully understands and can hold over her head, is a far more valuable asset. By allowing D'Artagnan to succeed, the cardinal doesn't just learn about his enemy's network. He gains a permanent, powerful piece of blackmail material against the Queen of France. D'Artagnan's victory might, in the long run, be the cardinal's greatest triumph. This interpretation casts a cynical, modern shadow over the entire heroic adventure. It suggests that in the world of high-level espionage, a victory is not always what it seems, and our hero may have only been a pawn in a game whose rules he did not yet understand. The true checkmate may not be revealed until much later. This is the brutal, multi-layered nature of the shadow war that Dumas has so masterfully crafted. Thank you for joining me in the Emotive Archive.